Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I hope everybody is doing well, and thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. Now, today we are moving bases, and I want everybody to just take a second and say goodbye to our beautiful home. Now, before we can move bases, there's one thing that we have to do, and we gotta go get some farm. Now, the way that I kind of want to do this video is I kind of want to talk to you guys what I did. I don't really necessarily want to show you guys too much of what I've been doing, only because I feel like the commentary is a little stale. I'm not really telling you guys what I was doing while I was playing this, and so I kind of want to give you guys a little bit of a voiceover while I'm going through this process. So let's get straight into it. As I alluded to in the intro, the first thing that we needed to do was get some farm. We needed a lot of materials to build up our base and to upgrade it into better materials. So we headed over to Red Sands and popped our canned seafood oil so that we can maximize our efficiency while mining. We spent a good amount of time just chilling here, mining up some nodes. However, we ran into a pretty big problem early on. I realized that we actually can't mine up tungsten ore because of our materials. So I decided to head back to base and look at the tech tree to see if there's anything I could do. And it turns out that we were actually able to get the solar drill as one of our specializations, and despite how lucky that was, in the future I did realize that I didn't have the components to build it. So luckily I ended up going down, getting the ore detector 2, and going ahead and upgrading so that I could get alloy pickaxes, which I ended up just using moving forward. So we smelted down some aluminum ingots, went to the supply workbench, crafted up a few of those alloy pickaxes, went ahead back over to Red Sands, farmed up some tungsten until we were unable to carry any more items, and now it was time for Tim and I to set our sights on our new home. Now, since this was live, I had one of my viewers actually suggest we find these little black spots all over the map and just head out to one of those for a good spot to lay down our new base. Now, the reason why we're doing this is A, to either get polluted water so that we can make some acid, or so that we can get some crude oil from digging it up off the ground. Either way, both of those components are going to be extremely helpful moving forward. And so after Tim and I found a spot that looked pretty good, it was well out into the open, it was now time to place down our base and go ahead and just move some of the essentials out of the way during the destruction process. And I gotta say that getting rid of your base and completely demolishing it is kind of satisfying, but it's also really sad at the same time. I mean, this is like the base that we first started off on, and now we're having to say goodbye to it. But as one door closes, a new one opens up, and I think that that was the most exciting part for Tim and I, because we were in a new area where it was very optimal for a new base for endgame content, and we were just excited to let our imagination run wild. Now, with the entirety of our base finally gone, which is extremely sad to see it go, it was finally time to set up the parameters of where our new base was going to be. Now, the way that I set this up was I wanted a lot of the water, and this black spot right here was a crucial spot for Tim and I to share and also find a way to connect our base. So we hit the ground running, excited to build our new base. However, I ran into a pretty big problem. These rocks that were sitting right here were in the way of the foundation that I had originally set down on my base, meaning that I couldn't build on top of them because, well, I wasn't high enough of a foundation in order to completely cover it. So after making those changes and covering up the rocks, I decided it'd be a good idea to get a overall level platform set out, just so it'd be easier to kind of figure out exactly what I wanted to do with this base. At the moment while doing this, I was kind of lost. You know, Tim had a pretty good direction as to what he was doing with his base. I had no clue. I was kind of just freehanding all of this, and so after a little while, I decided to just take some time in fishing. And I usually wouldn't be showing this part, but while I was fishing, I got a great idea. I really wanted to build a fishing dock. Now, while I was building this fishing dock, I actually started getting a little bit more of an idea as to how I wanted my base to look. But the biggest problem was that I was running low on time and I actually had to go to work. So in the meantime, what I decided to do was just to get the foundation laid down for my farm. And so we set up the frame for the actual farm itself, started to get the resources ready for the crop plots, and just kind of get an overall outline right before I had to leave. Now, I really wish I could show you guys the drawing that I made while I was at work. It was kind of funny when I showed it to one of my coworkers, because he also plays similar games, so he understood the type of dilemma that I was in. But man, it was so funny, and you guys would flame me for any sort of credit for being an architect. Now, what I do have to say is that after kind of outlining this, I came back to my base and I just ended up finishing it. Now, instead of showing you guys that process and everything, I don't want to keep you guys here too long and waiting. Let me just go ahead and show you what the base ended up looking like at the very end of the season. Now, here is the base completely finished, and I'm really happy with it. Now, you guys are probably going to see that in other videos, the base doesn't quite look like this, just because I recently updated it and finally finished it before the season actually ended. However, you know, in the meantime, I'll give you guys a little bit of a tour. So I do have teleports here. This leads me up to the floor just below my room. And this is where I kind of have my cooking area and a nice little view. Now, if we do head up, we have the actual bedroom itself. I was doing a little bit of salt farming for some XP, but this is kind of just what it looks like. I have my vending machine right there. If we come down to here, I actually didn't know exactly what to do with this floor. So if any of you guys have an idea, maybe drop that down below in the comment section and let me know maybe what I can start doing with a room like this in a future season. Here was a little bit of a gathering area with a nice little bar. Of course, another staircase leading up. I do kind of like this open build. I really appreciated just like how much you could see outside of the base. And I only recently added in this bridge and this farm. Now, the reason why we added in this farm, and you guys will see this, and I'm not going to spoil it, but we went on a big farming spree, and it was a lot of fun catching a lot of different animals. The only problem is we couldn't quite learn how to bring them into battle, and I definitely want to figure out how to do that in the near future. Here was our 2-story level farm. We kind of just did this so that we could make a whole bunch of essential foods and drinks. I don't have it up and running right now. I've actually kind of been offline for a little bit off of this world. Just preparing the rest of the content for you guys and getting ready for our season 2 of this Let's Play. But yeah, this is basically the entire base. The last thing that I guess I'd have to show you guys are going to be these water pumps. So right here, inside of here is that crude oil that I was talking about. This crude oil is good for making the actual fuel for your bikes and whatnot. I think Luke's base has been completely removed. So here's Luke's base, but his teleportation is on cooldown because I just got here. His base has the pumps on top of areas that give you acid, and that acid is very important for late game stuff. But that's basically the rest of my base. Tim's base, he had to relocate over here because it disappeared, and it looks like it ended up happening again, just because when you stay offline for too long, your base just fully despawns, fully disappears. But you guys will also get to see his base later on in other videos too. But yeah, this is basically the entire build. This is where we moved to. I hope you guys really like it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, maybe consider subscribing so you guys can stay up to date. Also, I do have a Discord link down below, so if you guys are interested in joining the team, joining the channel, then that'd be awesome so that I can hear your guys' input and feedback on what you guys want to see next. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Until next time, it was fun. I'll see you guys later. Peace.